Carbohydrates are often celebrated as the body's primary source of energy, but the reality is more nuanced, especially when it comes to the type, quantity, and frequency of carbohydrate intake. While it's true that glucose derived from carbohydrates fuels brain function and physical activity, excess carbohydrate consumption, particularly from refined or starchy sources, can paradoxically result in less energy, not more. For many people, the routine of eating large amounts of bread, pasta, rice, or sweetened snacks is accompanied by persistent fatigue, brain fog, and a sluggish feeling that sets in shortly after meals. This puzzling phenomenon is not a coincidence. Rather, it reflects the body's complex and often fragile metabolic response to rapid glucose influx and the hormonal chaos that follows. When a meal high in carbohydrates is consumed, especially one heavy in refined starches or sugars, blood glucose levels rise quickly. The body, in an effort to maintain balance, releases a surge of insulin from the pancreas to shuttle that glucose into cells. If the meal contains little fiber, protein, or fat to slow absorption, the rise in blood sugar is sharp and sudden, and the insulin response is just as aggressive. While this might provide a brief sense of energy or alertness, the aftermath is where the real problem begins. The body tends to overshoot the mark, producing more insulin than needed, leading to a rapid drop in blood glucose levels, a state known as reactive hypoglycemia. This sudden dip triggers symptoms of fatigue, weakness, irritability, and an intense craving for more carbohydrates, setting the stage for a dangerous energy roller coaster that repeats throughout the day. What's especially troubling is how normalized this cycle has become. Many people experience a crash in the late morning or mid-afternoon and instinctively reach for another carb-heavy snack to pick themselves back up. This only perpetuates the cycle of peaks and crashes, never allowing the body's energy systems to stabilize. Over time, this dynamic can wear down the body's hormonal responsiveness, dull the sensitivity of insulin receptors, and contribute to insulin resistance, all while making the individual feel perpetually drained, despite consuming more than enough calories. The brain, highly sensitive to changes in blood glucose, is particularly vulnerable during these energy crashes. The sudden fall in available glucose can impair concentration, slow reaction time, and diminish mood. This is one of the reasons post-meal drowsiness is so common after carb-laden lunches or dinners. The myth that carbohydrates automatically lead to mental and physical energy is undermined by the very real experience of this crash, which often leaves people feeling worse than before they ate. And unlike true sleepiness brought on by exertion or lack of rest, this form of fatigue is metabolic. It's a sign of dysfunction, not depletion. Additionally, large carbohydrate loads can stimulate the production of serotonin and melatonin, neurotransmitters associated with calm and sleep. While this may sound beneficial, in excess or at inappropriate times, such as the middle of the workday, it contributes to a drowsy, sedated feeling rather than the alert energy one might expect from food. This neurochemical effect compounds the insulin crash, leading to a layered kind of fatigue that's difficult to shake, especially without caffeine or another stimulant to counteract it. There's also the longer-term impact to consider. Constantly flooding the body with glucose and experiencing repeated crashes can increase oxidative stress and inflammation, both of which drain physical and mental energy reserves. Chronic inflammation affects mitochondrial function, the very energy-producing engines inside cells, impairing their ability to efficiently convert nutrients into usable energy. The result is a slow, systemic fatigue that no amount of sleep or rest seems to fully resolve. It's a creeping, underlying tiredness that becomes the new baseline for many adults, particularly those eating a Western-style diet rich in processed carbohydrates. What makes this situation more alarming is the disconnect between what people expect from carbohydrates and what they actually experience. The cultural narrative still frames carbohydrates as quick energy, but for many, they're an energy liability. Especially when eaten in large quantities, and especially when unaccompanied by fiber, protein, or fat, they sabotage the very purpose for which they're consumed. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. People eat more to feel better, but end up feeling worse, and yet blame themselves for being tired, assuming it's due to stress, age, or poor sleep, rather than the food they're relying on for fuel. For individuals already struggling with metabolic issues such as prediabetes, insulin resistance, or adrenal fatigue, the negative impact of high carbohydrate meals is even more pronounced. The body's diminished capacity to manage glucose efficiently means even modest carb-heavy meals can cause severe energy crashes. In such cases, what was once just an inconvenience becomes a disabling fatigue that interferes with daily life, productivity, and emotional well-being. The solution is not necessarily to eliminate all carbohydrates. Whole foods like vegetables, legumes, and intact grains still have a role, but rather to recognize the damage that can occur when carbohydrates, especially in refined or concentrated forms, dominate the diet. Excess carbohydrate intake does not provide endless energy. On the contrary, it can undermine metabolic health, sap mental clarity, and leave a person stuck in a state of chronic exhaustion, all while consuming more calories than they need. True energy comes from balanced blood sugar, efficient nutrient use, and cellular health, and excessive starch does little to support any of these.